Labour can show that another world is possible by rejecting austerity while also living within our means, Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell has said. He told activists that his goal was to change the economic discourse in the country and secure dynamic growth. A Labour government would reverse cuts to tax credits and ensure firms paid their fair share of taxes. He also called on Labour MPs who had refused to serve under new leader Jeremy Corbyn to come back. Follow live video and rolling text commentary with Labour Conference Live. In his first speech as Shadow Chancellor to the party conference in Brighton, he set out Labour's thinking and priorities in key areas. Aggressively tackling tax avoidance and evasion. Introducing a real living wage. Cutting tax breaks for buy-to-let landlords in a clampdown on corporate welfare. Restoring and extending trade union rights. Tackling the gender pay gap and building more homes. Asking ex-civil servant Lord Kerslake to review how the Treasury works. Reviewing the Bank of England's inflation mandate and the work of Revenue and Customs. Mr. McDonnell rejected Conservative claims that Labour were deficit deniers, attacking George Osborne's record and insisting that a future Labour government would secure prosperity through increased investment. He attacked the current model of economic policy making, saying the Conservatives only represented the 1% of the richest in society, and said he was fearful for the existing economic recovery which he suggested was based on insecure, unsustainable foundations. We are embarking on the immense task of changing the economic discourse in this country, he said. Step by step, first we are throwing off that ridiculous charge that we are deficit deniers. Second, we are saying tackling the deficit is important, but we are rejecting austerity as the means to do it. Third, we are setting out an alternative based upon dynamically growing our economy, ending the tax cuts for the rich and addressing the scourge of tax evasion and avoidance. Labour, he conceded, had to prove it had a workable approach, but promised as socialists we will display our competence with our compassion. Idealists, yes, but ours is a pragmatic idealism to get things done, to transform our society. We remain inspired by the belief and hope that another world is possible. This is our opportunity to prove it. Let's seize it. In the speech, he said he would launch a consultation on a fresh mandate for the Bank of England while insisting it would retain its independence, granted by Labour in 1997, and its ability to set interest rates without political interference. At the moment, the Bank of England's mandate is to deliver price stability, focusing on delivering inflation of 2%. Governor Mark Carney must write to the government every time the target is missed by 1% on either side. However, inflation is currently close to 0% and has not been within the target band since October 2014. They will retain their independence in the same way they had under Gordon Brown and George Osborne, Mr. McDonnell told Radio 4's Today. But he added, I don't want to be critical of Mr. Carney, but they are not meeting their mandate. It has been 18 years since we reviewed it, the mandate. There will be a parliamentary debate and we want to include in that other aspects of consideration, so for instance prosperity in the economy and long-term investment in the infrastructure. More intervention. In Monday's speech, he demanded access to the financial models used by the Bank of England and Office for Budget Responsibility to help Labour formulate an alternative economic policy, saying it should be open to all parties in Parliament to test their own ideas in advance of getting into government. He also announced a review of Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs to find out how it could beef up its efforts to collect the billions of pounds avoided by UK companies and individuals every year, saying the likes of Starbucks, Vodafone, Amazon, and Google should pay their fair share. During his Labour leadership campaign, Jeremy Corbyn claimed £120 billion could be recovered from tax avoidance and evasion, enough to eliminate the UK's budget deficit without cutting welfare or public spending, although others in the party have questioned this. Speaking shortly before Mr. McDonnell, the leader of the Unite Union Len McCluskey said defeatists in Labour's ranks could not be allowed to debilitate the Shadow Chancellor and Mr. Corbyn. But the Conservatives said Labour's plans would drive up the cost of living, while CBI boss John Cridland said the overall impression given by the speech was of rather more intervention in the world of business and the economy.